Bienvenidos to the show of one man. He packed up Columbus and ran. He doesn't speak Spanish, he's trying his best. Episode 40. Forget all the rest. Esto es onefjef. Un Dallas muy raro. Un Columbus, Ohio. Now in Mexico. Episodio 40. onefjef. Ándale.
Este es el episodio 40 de onefjef.
40 days of rain, 40 thieves, 40 weeks to grow a human being from scratch. Somewhere between the Bible and the womb, cultures kept landing on the same number. Arabic and Persian traditions, marking 40 as the threshold of transformation, the moment a life truly begins.
Hola mis amigos, estoy en la Ciudad de Mexico. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm sitting here in my apartment in Roma Sur. I did it. How about that? It feels somewhat surreal to actually be here in Mexico City, living. And the fact that this all happened in about 2 months and change, from buying my plane ticket on December 30th to actually moving here last Sunday, 2 months and change. And I think if you're going to do a move like this, it should be fast. The less time you have to really think or process what it is you're doing, the easier it is to minimize the possibility of reconsideration or doubt. Once you've made the decision, you just have to act. You just gotta go, right? You need to rip that Band-Aid right off, because if you start peeling it off slowly, it's gonna hurt more, and you might just decide to leave it on until eventually it falls off in the shower or something. And then it might clog the drain, and you gotta call a plumber, and plumbers are expensive. And you'll have to wait for the plumber to show up, and by the time he gets there, you may have already decided not to go. Anyway, I did it, and I'm fucking proud of myself, because this was not easy. And I realized that I'm only about 3 days into this, but it feels right so far. There's a lot of challenges to come, a lot of things I still have to do. I need to find a job, I need to learn Spanish, I need to learn to live without a dishwasher again, and so forth. But the hardest part is behind me. The Band-Aid is in the garbage. And now it's time for me to begin this new life.
onefjef voicemail.
onefjef.
Yes, yet another message was left on the onefjef voicemail line, and the onefjef voicemail line is feeling good about it.
This is Kirsten. I'm a friend of the pod. I wanted to call with maybe one question and then an idea for the podcast. Not that you were asking for ideas, but anyway. But my question is, I just listened to your most recent episode and I really enjoyed the piano music. And I was wondering if that was something you composed, if that was your music, or if you could share a little bit about it. And actually now I'm realizing if this information is somewhere in the podcast notes or something, I didn't check there. I just listened to it while I was driving. But anyway, I enjoyed the episode.
All the music you hear on this podcast, all the music you have heard on this podcast, aside from the ridiculous AI-generated stuff, was made by me. Some of it, like the outro music, was made specifically for the podcast. And other stuff, like the bits of piano I used in the last episode, were recorded years ago, and they were just waiting for an opportunity to shine. So, yes, thank you for noticing and enjoying and leaving a voicemail about it, because sometimes I wonder if anyone actually does notice these things. So it's wonderful to hear that someone does.
My idea for the podcast was inspired maybe by Colleen's question about your feelings about being an expat, and just thinking how a lot of Americans right now might be exploring the idea of becoming an expat somewhere in the world. So that could be kind of a cool angle for your podcast. Maybe you focus on interviewing expats that you meet in in Mexico City, and about their experiences leaving the United States. It could be a moment in time for that to be super relevant.
I'm on it. I was actually at a gathering last night, and 4 out of the 5 of us were not only expats, but we were also from Columbus, Ohio. Strange to have just left a place, only to have that place find you. But yes, I do plan to interview both expats and locals here. And while my main reason for moving here was not about politics, I imagine it was the main reason for a lot of the expats here, particularly the American ones. And it'll be interesting to hear about that. Thanks again for the message. If you yourself would like to leave a message with a question, a comment, a concern, a knock-knock joke, whatever, just call 1-669-241-5882. That's 1-669-241-5882. I will play your messages on the podcast, and both of us will be full of joy. Speaking of joy, I will be uploading some exclusive content to the Patreon page soon after I release this episode. A video tour of my apartment, some photos of the neighborhood, some photos of my going away party, and more. So if you are not a Patreon subscriber and you'd like a visual glimpse into my life, just go to patreon.com/onefjef and sign up for as little as $5 a month. You can help support the podcast and get access to all the extra content I've already put on there and all the extra content to come from Mexico. Patreon.com/onefjef. Muchas gracias. Y gracias por escuchar. Gracias por estar aquí. Aquí estoy yo, la semana pasada, en la casa de mi mamá en Ohio. Me mudo a Mexico mañana. I am moving to Mexico tomorrow. Uy, how about that? How about that? After all of the build-up, almost a year, I would say. I mean, I feel like this whole podcast has been leading in some bizarre way to this move tomorrow. But now, here we are. There's no turning back. I am almost packed. Unfortunately, my flight isn't until 1:30, but I'm doing it. I feel like I've been packing and unpacking nonstop for about the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll be honest, it's getting real old. Like, it was old a week ago, and now it's just like, are you kidding me with this? And still, it's the disappointment as to how much stuff I have, because like, it's ludicrous. I think when I come home for America's 250th birthday, bitches, in about 3.5 months, I may just go through my stuff again and discard a lot of stuff, because this is not how it should be. This is not how I intended. I cannot wait to not be surrounded by my stuff. I cannot wait. It's like they should put a warning when they start to instill consumerism as you as a child. They should put a warning saying, warning, consumerism causes you to have too much stuff. Or that there should be a public service announcements for the dangers of having too much stuff, you know? Because the stuff, we're not using most of the stuff. Most of the stuff is sitting on shelves in closets. Because I know it's not just me. People buy stuff. Oh, I bought that. You know, look in your drawer of your kitchen. Tell me how many of those things that you've used in the last month. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. That's not true. You didn't make soup. You didn't use the soup ladle. You didn't use that. I'm telling you, you didn't. Look in your closet. How many of those clothes have you worn in the past month or two? In the past year, even. Like I said in the last podcast. I have pairs of pants I don't even remember having. If there's any symbol of consumerist nightmare, it's having clothes that we don't even know that we have. People are struggling to put together like a few sticks or whatever in a burlap sack to have something to cover them in some countries. And here in America, I'm forgetting about the clothes that I even have. Quite a dichotomy we have in this world. I was thinking today about how when I was in Mexico about a year ago, actually, exactly a year ago, it started to occur to me that this might be an interesting place to live. And then when I got back to Columbus, I don't know. After that Mexico trip, Columbus never felt like, it felt like it was time to leave. It might have been, I feel like maybe I had inklings there was time to leave before that, but I feel like they were much more pronounced after I got back from Mexico. And then I went to Ireland with my family. And then immediately after that, went on my road trip, went on the 50 or 49-day road trip. And then, of course, I went to Mexico again. And anyway, I think the last year was basically me, like, avoiding Columbus, or at least distancing myself from it, or slowly separating from it and figuring out what I was going to do next, or where I was going to go next. And I did think about it, but this really does seem like the logical step, because, like, where would I go in the United States? I don't want to live in Ohio anymore, or at least in Columbus. I guess I would have been open to Cleveland maybe, but it's the weather, really. This winter really took it out of me in terms of, like, wanting to live in Ohio. It was a lot. And then you wonder, like, so I look for a job, what? I pick a city in the United States. I like San Diego or Los Angeles or, I don't know, Buffalo. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, what do I pick? And, you know, I know some people in Mexico. I like Mexico. I'm curious about Mexico. And, yeah, I felt connected to Mexico City. So, yeah, I'm moving there. It's also a cheaper cost of living, too. I'm not going to lie that that's part of it. Of course it is. But I'm not sure what most of it is. I've thought about that a lot over the last month or two. Like, what's the main reason I'm doing this? I do think a big part of it is wanting to downsize and live simply. I think that's a big part of it. I think that was the thing that got into my head when I was in Mexico a year ago, because all I had was the couple suitcases. And honestly, I think that the political climate, that's not even a big percentage. It's growing. It's growing as things get worse, and it's making it much easier to get out of here, because things are getting a little bit nutty. I don't mean to make that noise in a way to trivialize what's going on at all. It's just the noise that came out. I think I need a change. I think I need a drastic change. I feel like I was getting bored with my life, and I don't want to be bored with my life. I want excitement and new things, and I want my perception of time to slow down, because I'm surrounded by new things. Because that's what travel and being around new things does. It slows down your perception of time. And that's great, right? That's great. Who wouldn't want that? Also, tacos are really good. And in Mexico, they're about the best thing you've ever had in your life. Except for the tongue taco, but we don't need to go back there. Lengua. No, gracias. No lengua taco for me. I haven't finished packing because I can't until I, get up and take a shower and, I close toiletries, blah, 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 blah. And so I have to do that. And I'm like, can I fit it all in there? Is it going to weigh less than 50 pounds? What am I going to have to leave? Or maybe it'll all fit. I don't know. I'm always surprised at how much my suitcases will fit. Like, you can really fit a lot more than you would think in suitcases. Good story, Jeff. Thank you very much. Jeff gives you opinions about suitcases. That's going to be my new podcast. I'm just going to talk about suitcases for a long time. My suitcase has a old USB port, because they thought at one point that when the early USB technology with the long rectangular slot for the cable, they put those everywhere. I remember they were in New York subways. They would have them, like, charging places. And now they have to replace them all. And I guess people still have those cables, but honestly, that technology is being phased out. And it's like, can we just pick, like, a cable size? Can we just decide on one and just go with it? Because I am, like, USBC, great. Let's just stay with this. Because honestly, when I've been going through my stuff and all these cables that I have so many different kinds of cables. And it's literally absurd. My cousin was over last night. We were hanging out, and he needed a Thunderbolt cable, which visually is almost identical to a USB-C cable. Like, it's 98% similar. The only difference is if you look closely at the plug or you feel it, it's a tiny bit smaller. And, like, it's like, fuck you, Apple. Fuck you. What are you doing? Are you just fucking with us? And I apologize for all the swearing, Mom. I really do. Like, at least make a different color or something. Anything, but don't make it so close to the... And, like, literally the last phone used the lightning cable and the new ones use the USB-C. So everybody's got to have, if somebody comes over as an older phone, they need to have the older cable. Like, what are we doing? Sorry, I'm getting on a rant about cables because it's absurd how many different kinds of cables. And I'm trying to decide which cables to bring to Mexico City. And it's like, I guess I'll just bring one of every one, but I might need 2 USBCs. I don't know, 3s, whatever. I'm done with my cable talk. That'll be another podcast that I'm going to do. Jeff talks about cables and his issues with them. But seriously, though, if anybody's listening who works in tech, particularly like cable engineers, if that's a thing, I don't know. Let's just settle on one. Let's just pick one and go with it, because I've had it. I really have. Anyway, yeah, here we go. Vamos. Vámonos? Vámonos. Vámonos. I think that's it. Vámonos. Ándale, ándale, arriba, arriba. See? I hope, is that offensive? I want to find out if Speedy Gonzales is actually offensive to Mexican people. I'm trying to think, why would it be? I mean, it's offensive, I guess, because there's like one of them is like a lazy mouse. Slowpoke Rodriguez is like a lazy, but these don't seem like necessarily. Oh, I think they're drinking tequila a lot, maybe. I'll have to watch one of these cartoons before I got to find out what the racist stereotypes are in those. Maybe I'll ask AI, what are the racist stereotypes within Speedy Gonzales cartoon?
Speedy Gonzales cartoons traffic in several well-worn Mexican stereotypes. The exaggerated accent played for laughs, the sombrero and sandals visual shorthand, and most notably the background characters who are almost universally depicted as lazy, drunk, or asleep, setting up a fast Mexican/lazy Mexican binary that mirrors real-world caricatures. The character has defenders, particularly in Mexico where he's seen as a clever underdog, but the stereotyping in the broader world he inhabits is pretty hard to miss.
I'm at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. You can hear the sound of the woman rolling by with garbage right now. And my flight's been delayed like 3 times, which is actually for the best. I mean, it's not for the best now. I like to be on the plane now, but I had a little more time this morning to frantically pack. Anyway, yeah, I can't quite believe that after all of the talk and preparation and so forth and so on, that I am finally at the day of my departure. And somewhat ironically, it's like 60 or 70 degrees today in Cleveland, Ohio. Although the man who checked my bag told me that it was going to get down into the 40s and 30s again this week. So, okay. It would have been nice if it was freezing cold out when I left, just so I could be reminded of what I'm getting away from. So I have been just wandering around the airport, trying to close my rings. I've gone in 3 different Hudson Newses. They all have the same products. They all have self-checkout, but there's a person at all of them helping you do the self-checkout, which makes me wonder, is it really self-checkout if there's somebody standing next to you showing you how to do it? I don't know.
I just met a woman at the airport restaurant / bar who was going to Wisconsin from, sorry about the noise, I'm on the plane, who was going from Florida to Wisconsin to see her sister who was in ICU because she just overdosed on Xanax in an effort to kill herself. And then 2 days before that, or 3 days maybe, her father had tried to kill herself.
Welcome aboard American Airlines. Please place small carry-on items underneath the seat in front of you. Larger carry-on items should be placed in the overhead compartment.
Anyway, this woman, her father had died 3 days ago. 3 days before, 3 days or 3 days ago, her father was...
Flight attendant's boarding is complete. Please do the cabin for departure.
Her father had hung himself in a hotel room in New York City. And they have no idea why. He seemed very happy. She just talked to him. So let's all appreciate our lives and be grateful for the lives that we have, because this woman was going into literally, like, I almost gave her a hug. Anyway, I'm on my flight to Mexico now, and it's very empty, which is very nice. Anyway, here we go. On to Mexico City. Hola mis amigos. Estoy en la Ciudad de México. With all of the noise and the excitement that it brings. It is Monday. I got here last night, quite late. Took an Uber from the airport to my apartment. The whole ride I'm wondering, is my apartment going to be nice? I really hope it's nice. And then the other thought was, I can't believe this Uber ride, which was 25 minutes, is only $7. Anyway, got to my apartment, figured out the keys, got inside, and yeah, it's quite nice. It's nicer than I thought it would be. There's 2 bedrooms, there's tons of storage, there's great light. Yeah, the beds are really comfortable. There's a massive TV, almost too big, and it takes a lot for me to say that, but the TV is huge. And maybe my favorite thing about the place is that there's just plants everywhere. And I assume that I'm the one responsible for watering these, which is fine with me, but I should probably reach out to the landlord to make sure that he wants me to be watering them. But yeah, lots of green stuff around. It's a very quirky little apartment, but I like it. And yeah, I had trouble sleeping last night, as I do every time I come to Mexico City the first night. I think it's the elevation. I don't know, the lack of oxygen amps my body up. I don't know. I would think it would make me more tired, but it doesn't. It makes me sleepless. I like the neighborhood a lot. There's a coffee house right across the street. There's coffee houses everywhere. The street is a little bit noisy, but, you know, Mexico City is noisy, so you just got to deal with things. I do also like that it's like on the 3rd floor, so it's like at the top of some of the trees. So you look out the window and you just see greenery, which is quite nice. And high ceilings, too, which is always great. I do like high ceilings. And there's a Harley Davidson clock, I just noticed, which is random. There's some very strange design elements in here that I'm not quite sure what to make of. Somebody clearly likes motorcycles. Somebody's been to Hawaii. Somebody likes plants. The internet here is the fastest internet I have ever had at any place I've lived in my life. It's ridiculously fast. So that's good. Yeah, and the rest of the day I've just kind of been chilling out and organizing the apartment and, adjusting to the elevation and the pollution. I ordered a air purifier from Amazon last night because I've already noticed it. My sinuses are just congested already. I'm not coughing, it's just my sinuses and the eyes. It's like itchy eyes. I hope it helps. I think it can't possibly not help, right? Patricia always seems suspicious of this air purifier idea of mine, but I don't understand what that comes from. Like, certainly you do have to go outside sometimes, but like, you spend a lot of time in your own house sleeping and so forth, so wouldn't it be good if that air's clean? I would argue fervently that it would be. What I'm curious to see is how dirty the filter gets, how quickly it gets dirty. So yeah, I'm in Mexico City, and I feel pretty good about it. I'm a little worn for the wear. It feels a little surreal, I guess, because now I do have to start doing things like looking for jobs, editing the podcast, doing my taxes that I've been putting off for a month and 2 months. And now I have to learn how to really exist in this country. But I've done it for a month and a half, a year ago. So this isn't that hard. It isn't. Another thing I just noticed is that it feels strange to be doing Duolingo for Spanish and then have the ads be in Spanish. I mean, it's almost like 2 for 1, right? But it's also weird, And yeah, all my podcast and my ads on everything now, I'm sure there's a setting, but for some reason, every time I come to Mexico, my internet suddenly turns into Spanish internet, and I have to direct it to be in English. And it's kind of annoying. I get Spanish Wikipedia, Spanish everything. And I'm sure there's a setting, and I'll figure it out at some point. I never get over how crooked the sidewalks are in Mexico City. I haven't been to another city with such messed up sidewalks. You really have to pay attention when you're walking because the sidewalks are just all over the place. Crooked. One will be this way, one will be the other way. You can't see me, but you can imagine. And yeah, it's infrastructure. I guess it takes a lot of money to level all the sidewalks. And You know, I don't entirely mind it until it's nighttime and I've had a few drinks and I stop paying attention for a second and then I almost fall. But I have not yet fallen, so knock on wood there. But you know, not for the faint of heart, the sidewalks here. Except for in Polanco, which is a very fancy neighborhood, which has sidewalks that are smooth as glass. Tonight was my third night in Mexico City, and it was a good night. I think I'm gonna like it here. I was just hanging out with a group of people like expats and locals who live here, some who don't, and there's a real carefree, joyful vibe here that I really like. As I was walking away, saying goodbye to this guy, Bernard, he says to me, "Be happy." It's the last thing he says to me. I'm not sure I've ever heard somebody say that to me in the United States as I was somebody I just met, saying goodbye to him. Be happy. Anyway, yeah, it ended up being just a bunch of their friends just hanging out. We played music and took a few mushrooms and smoked some weed, and yeah, it was good stuff. The questions I had in my mind about whether I was gonna be happy here, whether this was a good decision. I feel like tonight it was kind of like, oh, it's true. You're gonna be good here. This place is gonna embrace you. Because tonight, I'll be honest, it kind of already did. Give me like a big warm hug. So, thanks for the big warm hug, Mexico City. I'm here. It feels right to be here. It's like this is the place that I'm supposed to be right now. And I hadn't felt that necessarily until tonight. Mexico City takes on a real magical luster when the sun's setting and even into the nighttime. It's the trees, it's all the greenery. It's the way that the street lights cast shadows in the street through the greenery. It's all the different colors of houses, apartments and buildings. Something else. Something really special. And the weather, Jesus, it's probably 70 degrees right now. If it was to be a temperature in the evening for the rest of my life, this would be that temperature. This would be it. And you know, I'm gonna complain about the crooked sidewalks probably every episode or every other episode for the entire time that I'm here in Mexico City. So maybe get used to that. But there's also a certain charm to the crooked sidewalks. And it makes you have to be an active walker, you know? You can't just passively walk, you've got to be paying attention, because at any time, the sidewalk could suddenly drop out from underneath your feet. And then where would you be? I feel like tonight, I just took like a huge exhale. And I still can't figure out which key goes first. But I just did. I did try. It's the dirty key. That's the first one. One of the keys is dirty.
the other one is not. And it's the dirty key. That's the one you want. Okay, that's all.
And that is how the 40th episode of onefjef goes. Next week, I'll be coming back with an interview that I recorded a long time ago. I'm not sure which one, but it's time to get back on that train. As always, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at onefjefpod, also on Facebook at onefjefpod, Substack at onefjef, so forth and so on. You know the game. Let's all play together. I have been feeling incredibly grateful lately for my life, for the change in my life, for my family, for my friends, for you, the podcast family, for all of it. Because it is true what they say. We only get one chance at this whole life thing. So try to find that perspective whenever you can. And I'm going to end this episode with yet another quote from good old Rumi. Don't move the way fear makes you move. Move the way love makes you move. Nos vamos la próxima semana.
Very good, Jeffrey.